Hey, tequila! Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you? So what's happening? Yeah, Tequila Sunset. How are the, high-concept, reality-based adventures proceeding?
He says it like it's obviously your name. Like you call someone Billy Brunel or leader of the 4th Street Gang. Good. These people know your true name. Looks like it has preceded you, Mr. Sunset. More on that later.
That's the spirit. I used to shape reality into my image, long time ago. Those days are over now. Sadly, things aren't going that well in Idiot Doom Spiral Land. Haven't found those keys yet, haven't won that great piece of ass back. No word from my business buddies.
Idiot Doom Spiral, huh? This is bound to be a good, high-concept conversation. At last.
It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. We've met before. Don't you remember?
No, you sure don't.
Maybe. You look like you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be. You look like you want to hear the tale.
Tequila. Tequila Sunset. Something ominous there.
You think you feel bad now. Wait till you've heard the story.
No. You need the wisdom.
Let me take a sip to moisten up my chords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday. And by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. The man, the myth. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get piss drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
It is. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as he can.
It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. I trust you know the feeling. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence, if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic.
3 men are standing on a wooden platform extending out from the shore of a dilapidated fishing village, their cheeks red, spirits high, beers in hand, eyes glazed over.
What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you, Right there on the beach. You revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs. The time hath come! So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come, to which you replied, "The time hath come for tequila sunset, the end of all things." Yeah, looms. Why not? Then you jammed the pedal and plowed right off the jetty and through the ice.
Your hands cramp on the steering levers.
We ran towards the ice whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit, like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep. Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. We asked about the whole tequila sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on. Yeah, I agree. Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him.
If you only knew.
You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard, and that we've all been fucked too.
Please, don't open that door.
No one's fucked me. I do the fucking around here. Abigail!
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say you're still working through some shit. Beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too? That's a big one. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style.
It's more like you were cramping theirs.
No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now.
A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism.
It's not meant as a joke. He's sorry for the hermit cop.
Yeah, you kept talking about how the coal mine owners were fucking us all over, just like that woman fucked you. I didn't agree with you, by the way. The spectral hand of the market makes sure everyone gets exactly what they deserve. You kept calling yourself a goddamn superstar who'd cleared 501 cases.
As you've already determined, the actual number is 216. But what's a little embellishment between friends?
No thanks to the squares at the precinct, as you put it. It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. We are saving the world. Please! Please don't call! Don't call! Okay, we're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once, a long time ago, with enterprise, creativity, and willpower. But that didn't work out. So now, it's a pirate's life for me. Whoop-de-doo. So now, I'm a fucking storyteller. Right. Why not? Better than a beach bum. It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out?
You might get scammed here.
No, the reality of the situation requires a rather modest contribution. A little motivational package. Booze! Did you already forget our party? The thing I relayed to you earlier. So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me. Interesting. Ah, this is what they use to keep the working man going.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Don't call Abigail! Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George, but around here, you already know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual. A founder/junior partner at a high concept creative services agency. When my story begins, I had just landed a major contract with an insurance firm. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high concept stuff. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. So I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane.
That's right. Getting a good run-in is important to maintaining your physical and mental health. Speaking of, when's the last time you did your laps, pork chop?
It helped, truly. With my trusty Sansaric Lycra tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world. But now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. His eyes are your eyes.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see? At least, that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet, very quickly. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass.
No, you don't.
Whatever. The point is, reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my apartment key. I wish I were, Tequila. I wish I were. Instead of my apartment key, I'd taken the key to the office. I rang my neighbors' buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since I hired only the best, he'd already done it, and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this. So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Tequila, I've thought about this series of events for a long time. If there was anything else to it, I would have thought of it by now.
Why didn't you go to the authorities?
Well, at one point they came to me, but, I didn't have any ID on me, so they tossed me in jail for 2 days. I can't say it increased my faith in the RCM. No offense, gentlemen. The hobo lifestyle definitely has some perks. Not having to pay rent, first and foremost. Not being responsible for 20 other people is nice, too. But that charm wears off pretty quickly. Before you know it, you're wearing a shit-stained tracksuit and spending your days picking tear. Good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I'd be hanging out on a beach in this formerly premium but now extremely dirty two-piece lycra tracksuit? I used to own my reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services agency. I had a nice apartment, an even nicer piece of ass. But somehow it all got away from me. Now I can't hang on to anything. Just last week I stole this nice new jacket, but then I lost it too. The only things I haven't lost are these two drunks.
You of all people should empathize with this. Perhaps this lost jacket is something you could help with?
My agency, man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was combining high art with the lowest forms of marketing. The color red, breasts, and oil painting. I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high-concept cultural incubator called Thin Air. The artists were happy, the clients were happy. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language. But then it all went to shit.
If it sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it doesn't.
I know. It was fucking awesome. Until I went on a jog, unleashing a cascade of doom that washed it all away. What? You've never seen 100% Lycra before? Go on, feel that primo material. Pretty nice, huh? This might be one of the last of its kind. Should probably be in a museum, honestly.
Good God, it's nearly impossible to describe how dirty this texture is. It's like rubbing two jellyfish skins together. You feel about 15% less human for having such. Randomized trials have also found Lycra, TM, to be associated with a number of exotic, highly malignant cancers, so you also have that to look forward to. And then there's the smell, but you don't even want to think about that.
Wow, you're lucky. He never lets me feel it.
That's because your paws are fucking filthy, Rosie. We're right next to the bay. You could wash them any time. My fellow members of the Union of Moribund Alcoholics? They're exactly what they look like.
Hey, tequila! You want to buy some speed?
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He's a cop, remember?
I thought he was a cool cop.
Don't call Abigail.
And this is Abs. So yeah, that's basically us. We drink together. Tequila, it's a verifiable tragedy. It was practically brand new. Sure, it didn't really go with my Lycra threads, but it did itch a lot less. Say, you're a detective, right? Maybe you can help old Doom Spiral out. Solve the case of the missing jacket. What do you say, Tequila? Yeah, exactly. You're here to serve, right? If I knew where I lost it, don't you think I'd have it? I mean, maybe I was up by the boardwalk, or walking along the beach, or checking out the abandoned fish market. Somewhere north of here, that's for sure. You could ask around, see if anyone's seen it. I'm all ears, Tequila. What's in a name?
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Don't call Abigail.
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened. I was once a reasonably... So you don't... I do. But as you can see, my fuel tank is running quite low. If you catch my drift. Classy. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend particular to Martinez. That said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Koran. There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon.
Are you telling the story of the headless...
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Hett is walking home from a late shift at the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see? Well, yes, but it's the man on the horse that's of interest here. A man...
The pause is long and dramatic.
with no head on his shoulders, wearing a fawn tracksuit, searching for the legendary fawn cap that went missing when he lost his head.
I thought that he rode a headless pig.
Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless fawn rider riding on the back of another headless man. Yes. According to legend, young Gertrude Het had to endure years of psychotherapy before she was able to look at a horse or tracksuit again. And she's one of the lucky ones. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless Faun rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no.
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff.
This wouldn't be the De Ponte Delgado case, would it?
What? You know it?
I've read the case file. But please, go on.
Right. Early autumn of 46. Ulla de Pont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ulla turns around to reach for the tackle box.
Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
When she sees something, her shriek is so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless Faun rider looming on the horizon. Ulla makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. Her body is never recovered.
Naturally, Ulla De Ponte became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Eva Delgado. De Ponte maintained that it was the so-called headless Faun rider and that she ran, fearing for her life. During the investigation, it became apparent that there was a love triangle, the third party being some small-time businessman. I don't remember the exact details. The leading theory was that an argument broke out on the jetty and De Ponte pushed Delgado into the canal, then cooked up this stupid cover story. No, she committed suicide before she could be taken into custody. They found her in the bathroom with a rifle, her face slowly peeling off the ceiling. Not a pretty scene.
Man, that's some grisly detail. Oh well, here's to another case closed. Anyway, that's the story of the headless Faun rider. Pretty well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he rides, searching for his lost found cap, plotting revenge. Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline.
Even decapitation couldn't stop his commitment to the sport. Are you that committed?
Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day. But then, no one really knows.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
Like you could do better, Tequila. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories?
Hard to argue with that, I suppose.
That's the reality situation for you. You think you got a handle on it, then blam! It throws some wild shit at you. That's why it's critical to stay well hydrated. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. Damn right it doesn't. So why don't you just shut up and leave it to the master? No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight. Ooh.
He won't, though, because it's just a stupid legend.
Aye, I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
He read
The tale I'm about to... There are many variations...
Are you telling...
Shut the fuck...
the streets in the heart.
Our hero... What she doesn't know is that a headless man, rumored to be searching for his legend... Woe is right, my friend.
Tell him about the two...
Fuck, bro. What?
I read
Right. The wind...
Two women.
The women...
Don't turn around.
When she's... But there... Ula... Her body is never recovered. Word on the street is that she... You know... gave herself facial deconstruction surgery. Real grisly stuff.
that part, at least more or less, corresponds to the case file.
See? Told you. Anyway, that's the story of the... No one...
He wants the...
Aye, I saw him one night.
I actually do have one. The strangest of them all. But I'll need to fortify myself before I can tell that one. Do you have anything to fortify old Doom Spiral? Tell me you got some story juice. If you find any, I'd be extremely grateful. You too, Tequila Sunset.
Good to see you, friend. Do I have deals set up for you, buddy boy? So what do you want? I got smokes. They're cheap. Very cheap. I got Pilsner. Great deal. You won't get a better deal on that piss. Spirits I can let go for 300 real. I also have speed. And by speed, I mean amphetamine. Bottoms up, Captain. Aye, by amphetamine I mean speed. Sure did, buddy boy. That's why I said amphetamine. I mean speed. I mean amphetamine. I got both. Aye, that's what I said. Good, my man. Now what can I offer you? Oh. The system's been good to old Rosemary here, and I'm milking her like a bitch goat in the backyard. You see, friend, man makes his own luck, and I made mine real good. Got my hands on 3 bottles of liquor exquise, sold 2 to the fellows around here, and immediately invested the profit. Bought cigarettes, bought beer, even bought a bit of speed. And look at me now, I've got everyone on my hook.
The hook. Where is it? I can't see it.
Hook 'em and cook 'em, huh? You want to buy something? Let's keep it moving. See, friend, it's real valuable. Worth every real, if you catch my drift. Got it from a bit of a business venture. You know, it's funny, actually.
He's finding it difficult to focus his watery gaze.
What?
Keep him talking.
This guy. Oh, this is medicinal spirits. The good stuff. Got it from the doctor's office. I got one of those scientific ampoules a few months ago. Torpedo, they call it. It's supposed to keep a man from taking a drink. Didn't stop me for shit, that's for sure. 5 lemons with half a pack of butter and you're good to go. It really isn't. In a week, the goddamn kidneys started giving me all kinds of help. Finally, the missus took me to a private doctor's office. Not a charity, the real thing. Those arseholes charged me £4 to remove the damn thing. But I came out on top after all. But the idiots left me alone in there. Now, I used to teach high school biology. I know what doctors use to preserve dead thingies. Like 3 cans of this blue medicinal stuff from the back room. Threw the snakes out and voila! What's left is this beautiful blue stuff. 98.7% almost pure alcohol. 2 I already sold to these fine gentlemen here. But this last one is yours for £3 if you want it.
Don't say it.
£3 and it's yours, friend. The deal of a lifetime.
Well done. You got it. That's a much more reasonable price right there. Makes sense now.
Just make sure to enjoy that one, friend.
If you drink this, then you'll die. That's a fact. And that's why we're going to save you from yourself and store this as a sellable item. Go sell it at the pawn shop for a profit.
In the civilized world, it's a custom to tip the shopkeep, friend. But come back anyway.
The noxious odor emanating from the drunken man is strong and familiar.
Don't you call her? Yeah! Don't call Abigail! Abigail! Don't call her!
You're not going to get anything out of this guy. He's too drunk. He snorts and beckons you to lean in closer.
Don't call Abigail. Don't call Abigail. Don't call Abigail.
The man hiccups, then mumbles something unintelligible.
There's no use in yelling at drunks. He's barely holding it together.
The drunk man starts coughing a really disgusting, hacking cough.
Don't you fucking call her. Hear me? Abigail? Don't call.
There was little chance he'd be a reliable witness anyway.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated?
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt. The rock kicker was just being shy, but now he's enthusiastic again.
You're bad with kids. Maybe I am. Now, how about some actual police work? We are not getting anything here.
The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game. The stone kick,
He looks just like me.
the rock kick.
You're bad with kids. You're right there. Let's see if we can find some police work, shall we? We're not getting anything here.
The scruffy-haired little boy. You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot sujunti.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts.
Then how does she know you're here?
I still have a golden ear. Come, come. Tut, tut. Don't be shy now. It's going to be all right. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels.
You're not. No one around here considers us an ill omen. People would have told us.
Maybe they are afraid. Because you're an ill omen, but you're still welcome here, as long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then, because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage, and not a lot of houses, or a lot of people. My kids are long gone, searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Oh, don't. It's your choice. No skin off my teeth. My kids grew up and left like they do. The house is long empty now. I live in the small side attachment. It's easier and cheaper to keep warm. Aye. The room is pretty bare bones, but it's got a bed and roof over it. That's more than some folks have around here.
When Varson communist revolutionary Ignas Nielsen was in hiding, He stayed in a hut on the Boreal Plateau for 10 months.
Go ahead. Call people rude things. We've heard worse here. Now, are you interested or not? Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
He's a little relieved you're no longer in that room.
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap, a blank spot on the map, just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
The lack of wealth is the one thing we've got in abundance.
It's a cold, cynical smile.
Riddles. Fits with the general ambiance here.
Aye. Sometimes it's as though I'm also gotten lost inside this nameless nothing. Oh, it seems to be a common theme these days. Isn't that what people always think when they are lost? Something I can do for you to find your way, officer? Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox.
Between here and Jamrock, a dusty sea of old trees, all covered in industrial soot. Small houses under them, an overgrown park.
An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be, during the time of the suzerain. After the war, it was turned into a goodwill hospital for shell-shock veterans and folks looking for some quiet in the old sanatorium gardens. Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder block houses. Shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they're away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Hope I'm sure you did. Nature keeps them in rotation. A new face pops up every now and then, and an old one disappears and is forgotten. This is who we are. Here, for you? No, officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about.
Under carts, boats, in little boxes, it's not hard to find. She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church.
She's not telling you all she knows. Keep her talking.
Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place, back when I was young, and so was everyone else. Now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. These things happen occasionally. Don't worry. You'll find yourself once more. What do you want with a lost jacket?
That's an excellent question, man.
Like a smart dog, yes?
Like a dog, yes. Loyal and dependable.
Are you getting a reward for it at least? Good for you. Can't expect to receive help if you're not helpful in return. A fine arrangement, that. Anyhow, you might ask Lillian if she's seen anything lately. That girl's got a way of attracting lost and broken things. Eh? What's this about? Come now, I can't read all this scribble. Tell me what it says. Huh. I might be half blind, but it looks like part of the village is gonna be a street. The best part. The part we need to get out of our houses. Have you asked Lillian about this? I won't even consider signing till I know she's on board. She's right over there, the dark-haired woman, leaning over the railing. Yes, you do that. Can't let fat Mr. Clare down now, can you?
She is not impressed by a cop running errands for a local bigwig. Not at all. Tremble. The time is now. Ta'ola. Time for the show. For Ta'ola. The hallowed time of fear and disintegration. A countdown has begun. All will collapse on itself. The world will disappear into a single grain of blackness. All sound will be muted. All life will scream. Ulogu Theodos, Xeno Zausin, Ipoli Osithian, Echondes Fronisin. Monday morning, the moment you arrived in this reality, are the first crack in the sheer face of God. From you it will spread. Yes, you spoke the words of the Palindropos and the houses of Pericarnassus. Items, people, even words will tumble. All will lose its meaning in the coming years. That is why you marked yourself. It's totally also a coping mechanism. So you should be. The world island crumbles at your feet, and in the far plain, Palindropos. Perhaps, just a thought, this has something to do with the hangover. Okay, yes, maybe it is just the hangover talking, or some kind of joke you're playing on yourself instead of working on the case.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with?
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything. So what brings you here, Lawbringer? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Illisible. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
And go where? The fish are plentiful here and we get enough orders to get by. It's not great, but it's something. People imagine picking up and finding something better is an easy solution. But how is that supposed to work when all your time and energy goes to staying alive? You have almost nothing to set aside to actually fight your way out.
Hordes of wild, homeless people roaming the lands. Nomads scattered across an endless plain. In a dystopian world where tear is the only valid currency and people eat each other to stay alive.
I don't mean to complain about my pauper life. We are warm and fed here and... I don't know. There's just something about this shithole.
A sudden gust of cold air blows in from the sea. The waves flow and ebb. Around you, the fishing village takes its slow and steady breaths. Its many wooden structures, worn by bitter years of salt and storm. Even at the worst of times, Revachol cares for its inhabitants.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that.
that does not go for real men. It does not go for you. Show her. Show her the wonder. Coach means the expression.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
Sure. Venomosity. But boys will be boys, and God knows we don't have many around. So far, the sword has been enough to keep them in line. No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check, you would put me in an early grave. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Gone.
The harbor seawall endures the wash of the freezing waves. Many things wash up against it and onto the beaches of Revachol. Some inanimate, some just no longer alive. You shudder.
To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. Who knows? Maybe he fell over. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. I don't. But us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her.
Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Remarkable. That one already lost everything else, and now his jacket too. It's a good thing, too, that he has an actual police officer looking for it. Good old doom spiral, upper management to the core.
That's odd. Is she actually impressed?
Aye. We all feel that way sometimes. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the protagonist, even in my own life story.
A gush of sadness suddenly washes over her.
Anyway, I'd looked near the fish market north of here on the boardwalk. Drunks are drawn to markets for some reason. Was there something else? Were you? This says by signing, I agree to living with construction noise. What exactly is the Union building? What a nice idea. Wouldn't have thought that...
She sounds incredulous about the niceness of the idea.
That Everard and the Union have nice plans for anything. I thought they only cared about themselves. Well, I guess Union members have children too.
And those members have a vote when electing the head of the local chapter.
He has a pen and everything. Here you go. I shouldn't have. That's what I asked you. It's a youth centre and I have children. Got to give them something else to do. They're cute and small now, but they're growing up fast. I had my first drink when I was 11 because I was so bored. Anyhow, you also need Isabel's signature. If it's a bad idea, she won't sign. You'll find she's a tougher nut to crack than me.
Sound logic. Division of labor. She leaves the skepticism to the skeptic.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? Lillian should let her sword make her decisions. The girl just doesn't have the head for it. Either way, I won't sign. I've seen it all before. You think they've got our interests at heart? Rich men are always selling poor men promises they never planned to keep. Then the poor get pushed out of their homes and the rich get a little richer. That's the way it goes. So no, I don't trust the fat man, and neither should you.
In her mind, the Union is right-wing because Everard is fat. It's that simple, and there's no change in it. She is headstrong, but there's a slight hesitation in there. You may be able to convince her.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What? Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the...
It's real.
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's...
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's real.
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's really in her best interest to listen to you. You know how the world works.
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's really in...
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's really
Our tenant, the policeman.
It's really in.
Our tenant, the policeman.
Logic and reason won't work on this old bat. Better go for shameless emotional manipulation. What's the grandmother's deepest vulnerability? The grandmother card will do the trick. Last chance to turn back.
What do you mean? What's going to happen? We are gonna grow up, of course. I raised my own kids in this village and they are doing fine for themselves. No, they moved to Faubourg for work. Well, I imagine they'll grow up and leave too.
You've got her. Now just reel her in.
Then,
Wait. Let her come to it herself.
I don't believe the Fat Man's Youth Center is going to change anything. But what other choice do we have? It's not like the coalition government is coming to save us. I won't be around much longer anyway. Not with the dampness in my bones. If they want to take a chance, who am I to stop them? We do. But how do we do that?
Reluctantly, she takes the pen from your hand, scribbles her name on the line, and hands everything back to you.
See that you didn't just get us all screwed. I might be half blind, but I have a good memory for treachery.
Let's go, Melit.
He's not dissatisfied with you, but with himself.
Huh? I like to see him try. If anything, I am gonna muscle him out with construction noise.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. She doesn't seem surprised by this sudden twist.
Get out of here, trying to ruin my day. And that youth center better be a good one, or you'll have trouble from me. I wield an army of drunks. Do not underestimate the effect of such a force if it's pointed to the right direction.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks as this one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating. The stone kicking isn't even of very high caliber. Anyone can do that.
You're stupid. Okay. Hello, mister.
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were going to take them. They're stupid.
We're going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? Uh-huh. Mom is great. You know what's great about my mom? Yeah. Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. They look identical. It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you make up for the skewer you broke.
Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry. It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Yes. Very soft. Isn't he soft? Bye!
Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network.
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front.
The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted.
I'll wait outside to give you some time and privacy to check out your new living arrangements. But just so you know, after we are done with the day, I'll still be staying in the whirling in rags for the night. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
The key turns with a satisfying click. You can enter the shack now. A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Waves crash onto the beach, drowning the reeds. Far to the south, a congregation gathers to a soup kitchen In a shelter for the homeless, an old woman gives out knitted scarves for free. This could have been you. This could still be you. A down-on-his-luck nobody, trying to survive. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Look under the floorboards.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with... It's like something snaps in you. A nerve ending. A thought. A sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you. The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer. Maybe some...
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. Yes, hypertext, young carp, and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bombessier d'Insolente. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
I certainly haven't. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The failed playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Feld Playback Experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states. Have you read it? If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway, that's just a little something that sprang to mind. You were saying?
Forget it. They don't sell those kind of books at crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever. You see, a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, Tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. The order was carried out in the afternoon. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air. The lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Veld?
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant. the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures.
Go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
Maybe the water lock is fixed.
We were supposed to go back to Martinez a couple of days ago. That damn water lock is broken. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. A science person, the so-called science community, hasn't accepted me as one of their own quite yet.
Doesn't sound like he particularly wants to be lumped in with them either. His is a scientific community of one.
I'm Morel, a cryptozoologist. I'm out here looking for a rare insect called the Insulindian phasmid. I'd shake your hand, but,
The way he said the word, phasmid, made it sound full of mystery. This is a very special word for him indeed.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid.
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodeozoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Seems puny, to be honest.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. There was a credible sighting here recently. A pair of teenagers described a creature that matched the Insulindian phasmid to an uncanny degree, despite not knowing what it was themselves. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Nature does not concern herself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, my interest is strictly dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. Yes, what? I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. two are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing. He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Interesting.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paints. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence. By all means.
That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. You don't have a reason to. Yet. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy bobbing in the water. A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this? End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre, is that you, Pierre? So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died. Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not. Calling. Still called. Someone with a masculine voice picks up.
Hello, Gerard speaking.
Hello, Gerard. Technically speaking, you're electricity.
No, but I got a feeling Al Kick Your Ass is gonna make an appearance if you ever call this number again. Have a good one, asshole.
Phone hanging up. Disconnect tone. Calling. 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 Still calling. Still calling.
Stop calling me, man. I'll get you your money, alright? I just need till tonight. Let me work. My debt? I don't fucking owe you. It's... Who is... never mind. I don't...
Disconnect tone. Calling.
I'm tired.
Sounds like he hasn't talked to anyone in quite a while.
If I could go just 1 month without writing, no, 2 months, I could regenerate my brain. Fucking liberalism.
The man disappears with a sigh. You do not hear the customary disconnect tone, just silence in the handset. The machine is still waiting for you to dial a number. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. This sometimes happens. Lucky you. The call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying. You close your eyes and put your index finger on the rotary dial, then pull down on the number, then move one up, and repeat the motion twice. Strange. This is not how you started before. You dialed 001. This is not the area code of Revachol. It is another destination on another Isola. 005 is Revachol, ZOC. 001 is Grad, on the Gradian Isola, where the telephone was invented. The next two digits you dial are the area code for the city of Mirova, 414447. The rotary dial feels cold from the sea air. 1117361. Your fingers keep moving like a spider. Every time the ring rotates back with a little ring of metal, like a bell tolling. Yes, 451-67451. You are going deeper now, into some unknown place, far away from this island of matter and its telecommunication networks. 451. You have dialed God knows how many numbers. The headset has been waiting silently to relay a signal. Surely nothing can come of this, you think. But it does. A connection. An ultra-long distance call. Your air fills with a crackle, the wash of a strange ocean full of white noise. A little bird starts ringing in there, not like the local calling tone before. No, a small ring in a cage of distortion, far away. A distant network of phones. Calling in the night. The saddest sound in the world. Calling still. Ringing by the bedside of a dark but capacious apartment with long windows. You know this to be true. The handset starts slipping from your sweaty palm. Your breathing is heavy. You just do, and you know it is going to hurt. The lieutenant is too far away to hear your yelp. The sea wind blows. You can't. Some strange force is keeping the headset glued to your hand, your ear listening to the ring in the speaker. Calling. 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 Calling still. Then the ocean breaks. Out of the depths, a woman's voice emerges. Small. The dearest thing you've ever heard.
Hello? No. It's you, isn't it? It's you. Who is this? Dora. Who is this? The connection.
Dora. The name feels like a gift. A gift that was meant for you. To make it possible to live. And fight. In the distorted distance, you hear someone turning next to her. Bed springs rattle. No answer. You're not sure, but you think you hear a man's voice in the background. It's covered in pain and white noise.
What? Oh no. Is that you?
This is too much. You need to recede.
Oh no, not this. What time is it? not revolutionary, Harry. You're drunk.
You only have 2, maybe 3 things left to say before the change runs out.
Because it's me. Look, I don't understand what you're saying or why you're calling me. You seem drunk. Oh, God. Do you know what time it is? It's so late here. It's 4 o'clock, Harry. I need to wake up in 2 hours. Yes. To work. The academy, where I work.
No response, only a sigh. The connection crackles like burning paper.
What do you want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
This is bad. You feel your right hand on the handset cramping up with pain.
Yes, I'm in my rover. Sleeping. Oh no, please stop. Please, let's just hang up. No, I want to go to sleep.
She does not answer anymore.
Harry.
Disconnect tone. The machine ran out of money. You dial the number again. 26 pulls of the rotary dial. The machine eats the coin, and a terrifying ocean of distance rustles in your ear. In the middle of it, a familiar ring. Small, distorted. Calling. 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 It looks like she doesn't want to pick it up, Harry. Stop scaring her. Come on, you know why. Calling. Calling.
Harry, please. Please. I'm going to hang up now, okay?
Phone hanging up. Disconnect tone. You dial the number again, as you've done many times. Calling, 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 and calling for who knows how long, but no one answers. You need to insert more money to call again. The cold metal is hard and hurts your knuckles. You look at them, turning purple. It didn't give you any fun for that money. Your hand is turning blue now. Blood drips to the ground. Bent metal, broken glass. Your path lies strewn with the broken forms of everyday objects. You are the destroyer, the bane of inanimate matter. Kudos. Magnesium-based life form. We tell them, hell no. You're about to become a magnesium-based life form. The age of the primitive carbon man is done. No longer must mankind rely on slow-working background radiation to take us further into our genetic destiny. This is the era of guided evolution, and magnesium is the key. You are the first of your species, the next step in human evolution. An advanced magnesium proto-man who mags it up, drinks it down, and sniffs it sideways. A pane of eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough. The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
We should ask that girl on the ice what's going on here.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, you barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this. I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Reversholt.
Strike that! The world!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
They're spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
It's as if time has frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool. Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eyeball. In the looking ball. Man up. It's nothing. Pick the goddamn key up. Put it in your pocket and move on.
My bad.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry he didn't throw them better.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshy tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret,
Hardcore! It's hardcore! Skibber danger. I am the rearranger.
could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think?
This is
hardcore! Hardcore to the mega! Internally coherent! All core! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
Is it though? But is it? I mean, really?
Feels like you should reply with the very pinnacle of idiocy here, so that things get totally transcendent. But you haven't gotten there yet, so you don't know what to say.
I am the mic enforcer. I am the chicks checker. Yeah! Back to the heavyweight jam. Hardcore! Hardcore! Hardcore to internally coherent. Good morning, yeah! 1, 2, 3, Yekokata, the place to be! It's the message, so listen and you will see. No one... We're close. True, hardcore, hardcore, internally coherent. All core! Gotta get the people going!
Yeah, request. I want everybody as close to the stage as possible.
We're close. True, hardcore, yeah!
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yeags and args. This produces a guttural Gotwaldian accent and makes him sound, or maybe it's not Gotwaldian. Maybe it's Oranese. Probably an homage to Oranje, where Arno van Eyck is from. Judging by his name, could you be listening to an Arno van Eyck creation right now?
You know about him?
You know Van Eyck? Wow!
The skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
Oh! Is that why they call you Egghead? Because...
Egghead to the mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The Advent?
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Lloyd. Good. It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading. Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align. I suck at socialising, man. Even now, our sign synchronisation is way off. But I'll see what I can do. The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church.
A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh, hello there.
She must be Estelle, the last of the speed freaks, Hossie. It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing.
That's my name. I take it you have met the others. Did they tell you about the church and the club thing? Will you help us? Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here. Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little...
So should you. Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat.
Lots of feeling. Feel it up. Way up. You're saying it really loud, but it's not coming out right. Maybe add more indignation. More. More.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
The lieutenant is watching the scene unfold before his eyes. Unsure, the girl looks down, slowly curling into a ball. That's it. You've earned it. Start crying. Life's hard. The words are stuck in your throat. All that comes out is tears pouring down your face. The young woman has kept her eyes trained on her wires, waiting for the lecture to end. But now she hears sobbing. Looking up, she sees a grown man on the wrong side of 40, his face bloated from alcohol and God knows what else. Not so quietly, crying.
This isn't really about the hat, is it? Okay, sure. You're not the only one with issues. I self-medicate. Shit, life's a horror, you know. Crying helps though. Get it out your system, and then maybe we can talk, okay? I'll be here. So, like, seriously, what's eating you, man?
There is a hint of pity in her eyes. Her hair is dyed blonde, with dark roots showing, and she wears thick black eyeliner. Most men wouldn't call her pretty. There is a manliness to her, a coarseness.
I was wondering when you would come around. What's up? What is it? Oh, really? So the thing that's got you crying in front of strangers is social justice? Yeah, man, they're pretty bad.
3.6 billion, not counting those in sale.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Are you sure you're not just hung up on some chick, though?
Perhaps.
Okay. Why'd you think that? Wow, man. That's pretty symbolic, don't you think? Okay. What else? There you have it then, chick trouble. Not political after all. Who was she? Really? You seem to be pretty upset about this chica. Are you sure you don't remember anything about her? Wow, man. That's some pretty strange shit. Are you sure the letters were for you? How come you don't remember, though? Is it like some selective memory thing? Yeah, or it might be that. This one time I did so much booze that I forgot too.
It's obvious she's done more than booze.
Or it might just be some psych bullshit, you know? Königstein wank. You know, the psych thing they've got going on there. Rich people like it. People in Königstein are mostly rich. You're welcome. Might be for the best to keep that shit forgotten though. Just my opinion. If it itches, don't scratch.
Yes, but it itches really, really bad.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them. Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
To the cops.
Me? I'm a silver bird. Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but... This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Your mangled brain would like you to know there is a boxer called Contact Mike. No. You're welcome.
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble. Same place I got the recorder from, the Palaceum. Oh man, you haven't been to the Palaceum? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Oh, yeah. Egg's really into him. Maybe even too into him. He's a pretty intense personality. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means either. That's cool. Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps? Yeah, I record stuff with it. Sure. Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. My boyfriend sold them. I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
A lie. They were probably pawned off for something suspicious.
The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device. The thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels childish, very useless all of a sudden. The sharp drop in endorphins is almost visible, like a warm blanket has fallen off her shoulders. The wave of chill, the quivering jaw, indications of a drug high.
Take this, you're cold.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Thanks. Yeah, the boys think it could be a place, like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not going to be a Palaceum, that's for sure.
And who are these boys?
Yeah, Andre and the guys, inside the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room. Didn't you see it yourself? It's mostly music stuff, like this tape recorder, but bigger. Yep, they were pretty. I'm sorry we sold those. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter, I can take the cold. Go ahead. It's supposed to become, like, a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Palaceum. Except that, yeah.
The floorboards are twisting, and the shooting beams are slowly cracking, like bones. Far east of the Golden Delta, beyond the industrial port, there is a black patch of unlit coast with the smallest creatures on the ice. There will never be a club for anodic music here. Not in a million years.
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. Synthesizers and tape consoles. Microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that.
You see clear, beautiful, violent flashes of light. Light cutting through a smoke-filled darkness. That is what the future will look like, if it ever comes.
Go ahead. Okay, bye. Hello again.
The device is still warm from her touch and heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo, Omicron, adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside, the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands. She looks you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup. The wind howls. She remains silent. It's real. Tell her.
What is? I know. I'll stick to it. So thanks, I guess, for the psych session. Maybe I can return it. What's been eating you, officer?
Do you want to talk about what just happened? Normally, I'm opposed to discussing one's feelings, especially on duty. But I think this is an exceptional case. So, what do you think happened?
'Tis possible thou couldst persuade the lieutenant 'twas all a part of thy unorthodox method. But can thou persuade thyself? Believeth in thyself, my liege. 'Twas all a clever ruse.
Yes, a clever ruse, I see. Even so, in the future, could you please refrain from emoting too much on duty? The quasi-legal status of the RCM means we need to project strength twice as consistently as any other police force in the world. Good. Controlling your emotions sounds good. Glad to hear it was minor. Can you go on? Then, let's go.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open. Feels like electricity and a very small piece of nothingness.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area, its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city,